Yeah, no matter what, I ain't never gave up. Came close, devil tried, do the most. Can't nobody block me from my destiny. They try to block me, dog. Gotta keep the faith, I know he testing me. Made it through the fire, now I'm living proof. Said I made it through the fire, now I'm living proof. Haters taking shots, but I'm bulletproof. Whoa.
What is up, everybody? It is I, your favorite combat sports enthusiast, the self-professed nerd, Matt Burton, the Saiyan Soldier, and I am here with a guest that I am honored to have on. He's been through a lot, but I mean, he's one of the most persevering people I've ever seen and I've ever talked with, and I'm glad to have him on today. Mr. Eric Trinidad. Eric is a Brazilian Jiu-jitsu second-degree blue belt training at House Gracie, which is really cool. But let me tell you a little bit about Eric before I let him introduce himself. Eric is a proud Puerto Rican, a U.S. Army veteran, a mental health advocate, podcast host, and Brazilian Jiu-jitsu athlete. After losing a family member in the 9/11 attacks, Eric joined the Army as a combat engineer and deployed to Iraq, where he faced lasting effects of trauma, including traumatic brain injury, PTSD, and vision loss. His journey took another serious turn after a serious car accident in 2020, but with his wife's support, he found a new purpose in Brazilian Jiu-jitsu, a discipline that became his therapy, his focus, and his community. Today, Eric trains and coaches at House Gracie Jiu-Jitsu and hosts the Beyond Capable podcast, where he shares stories of resilience and recovery. His mission is simple but powerful, to show that healing and strength can come from even the hardest battles. Eric, man, it's an honor to have you on, man. How are you?
Wow, I'm pretty humbled by that intro, to say the
Hey,
least.
after you sent me your story, I had to do it justice.
Thank you, man. No, I'm doing good, busy. I like to be busy. A lot going on right now, a lot of good stuff going on in my life. I'm just taking one day at a time and enjoying life the best I can.
Yes, sir. I understand that. So let's talk about how one your military service, man. As I told you earlier, thank you for that, man. If anybody who's listened to this podcast knows how much the military means to me, especially the Army. So,
Thank you.
man, I really admire that for you. I wish I could have done it. I tell everybody if I could have went, I would have went off rip, fresh out of high school, no
Yeah.
questions asked. Let's talk about how a little bit about your experience for there, and
Yeah.
kind of take us into how you got from military to jujitsu.
So when it comes to the Army, I actually I joined when I was 20.
Hmm.
I got out of high school. I was not the best student in high school, so when I got out of high school, I went to work at a gas station and whatever. I was really thinking about the future. But then 9/11 happened, and my cousin Michael Trinidad passed away. Even though when I met him, I was like a baby, but he was still my dad's first cousin. So it was something that I don't know, it's something that stirred in me, and so I joined the Army. And after I came back from boot camp, I did a year in the National Guard in Puerto Rico. In that moment, I was trying to get out to go active duty, and they came down asking for volunteers to go to Iraq. So I volunteered. I want to go as fast as possible, kind of get out of the way, because I knew it was gonna happen anyway. My job, it was needed over there, and I was a combat engineer in the Army, and we dealt with road site clearance, anything from house clearance and from clearing IEDs and all that. Fast forward, I had a head injury in Iraq in 2005, and it affected my vision. But I didn't know until 2008, and because I kept on having a lot of migraines and having issues reading, and I thought it was just me getting old. I was only 25 at the time, no, 26. So I struggled with my vision for a bit, and then in 2017, I was deemed legally blind. I was still able to drive and work, and no problem. But then in 2020, my wife and I moved to Florida, just trying to enhance my career at the time. And one day coming back from work, I was heading home, and I was at going home in the street where I was driving. You can't go more than 40 miles. If you're going 40 miles, you're going too fast. And this guy was going over 100 miles per hour. He was fleeing from a bad drug deal or something. He rear-ended me, and I was going southbound. He hit me so hard that I ended up in the northbound. And what stopped me was a fire hydrant. If not, I would have hit the wall. I wouldn't have been here. Lost consciousness and having a prior head injury. Head injuries, I had two in Iraq. That's kind of weird, but gratefully I had no new injuries. But unfortunately, what I had has made it worse. Yeah, I was in the ICU for like 3 days. And the messed up part is that it happened during COVID. So my wife couldn't see me. And that was really hard. That was really hard because I literally almost died. And I was mad in the hospital because I was like, man, I survived war. And I've been shot at, blown up, literally shot at. I got shot over there. And now I'm coming home and this guy just almost killed me because he's being an idiot. At the same time, but I was really beat up. My back was so swollen that my chest was elevated. How it was really bad. And they're trying to do surgery. But quick thing about how whites are so awesome. The day before the accident, my wife was working out. We live in that time we lived in an apartment. We didn't have space for a gym. So what we would do is we'll work out at our parking spot. And so we're working out and we live on a second floor. So you know what? I'm gonna put the weights and the crash pads in the car. I don't feel like putting them up. If I didn't have that in the car, that's what really saved my life because I had all of my plates in the trunk of the car. It was like 210 pounds worth of plates, and plus she put the crash pads right behind the driver's seat.
Wow.
So yeah, it was like God. Like if not, I would have broken my. I wouldn't be here. I
Right.
wouldn't be here. So that happens, and I was really swollen up in my face. So I thought my vision. I couldn't see well, so I thought it was probably because my eye was swollen. But then I realized that the days passed, getting less bruised, my vision is still the same. So that's why I knew that there's something was going on with my eyes. So fast forward, the VA did some testing, and I have only had 10% vision. So I just see like this, like
Wow.
like that.
Right.
So yeah, that was a hard pill to swallow, even though I knew it was going on because they're my eyes. So I'm the one seeing it, hearing it, saying that I can't drive anymore, that, I gotta use a blind stick from now on. That was a hard pill to swallow because at that time I was 39. All my life I didn't depend on anybody.
I can definitely relate to that. As somebody who's had a disability since birth, but also being very independent and have always been very independent, being told, something that you've done your entire life is being taken away from you is
Uh-huh.
definitely really hard to swallow. So I can imagine for you on that level, it was
Yeah.
intensified by like 10, if not 20 times worse.
Yeah, I didn't care about the injuries. Honestly, that's a kind of person I am. I can deal with the injuries. It's that the sense of my independence being taken away, that was a big issue for me because I'm the oldest of four. So most of my brothers, well, older brother kind of thing. They'll rely on their brother and stuff like that. And I had to have my little brother come in, my younger brother, come in and take care of me for 6 months, and my mom had to come in and help me out because the first year of the accident, I was having really bad seizures. I couldn't do anything. So I couldn't work out. I couldn't do anything. So I gained a lot of weight. I was like 255. Yeah, I'm only 5'7". So I was a big boy, and that didn't help because all my back injuries. I had a pinched nerve because of the accident. So having all that weight on me, it just makes it worse.
Right.
And so depression kicks in.
Right. Before you go into that, I wanted
Yeah.
to touch on something you said. You having the accident in 2020 and it being COVID. I can completely relate because around that same time is when we thought I was having my brain injury. Come to find out I had herniated disc in my neck. At first they thought I was having a stroke. It was really scary at the time, and they wouldn't let guests come to the hospital. Like that was really stressful for me. And luckily for me, I only had to spend a few hours in the hospital, but you spent days. So
Yeah.
I can imagine that being a strain on not only you personally, but a strain on your wife as well, and also on your
Yeah.
relationship. So shout out to her for having the strength to pull through with you.
Yeah, I remember when I was in the hospital at one point. When I got there, my phone was almost dying, and because he couldn't come and see me, he was working out so he could give me a charger. Right, the security guard was not understanding that I don't know what the hell, but he had a hard time getting the charger to me,
Right,
and it's funny how sometimes simple things it's just like make a big difference. We couldn't see each other, so my phone was essential at least to communicate with each other. She wanted to know how I'm doing. And she was like at the ER waiting room at the accident for 6 hours, just sitting there waiting for the whole thing. She wouldn't go home.
wow,
Because the thing about that is that my wife, I forgot to tell you, is my wife is a forensic investigator. So she deals with any deaths happen or any from crimes, naturals, whatever. They deal with it. So when a car accident happens, they also get a notification because they're also the same system as the police department. So I don't remember her I ran to the scene. I was so out of it. I was unconscious, but I was told that she arrived to the scene. So for her also seeing my name on the on the computer, not a good thing. She's my rock. I can't take credit for everything I do.
Right, right. I understand, man. Like that's a strong credit to her. A lot of people in our situation either get wives that can break them or make them, and you definitely have one that makes you. So I admire you for that, man. I admire her for that. I know that had to be really tough.
It was really difficult after the fact, because people with head injuries, tend to have anger issues.
Right,
So it's like people with CTE, anger outbursts,
right.
and that was a big toll for me because I now I'm able to control it. Before it was just I was self-harm when I would get angry,
Oh man.
and that was the problem that I was so frustrated because I so wasn't coming to terms that okay, for the rest of my life right now I need to depend on somebody the rest of my life, and that's been has been my biggest struggle past 5 years. Now I need somebody for the rest of my life. And I remember my wife one day told me that, so Eric, I tried everything. I went to inpatient programs and everything, and I'll be okay for a couple months, and then I'll go back to square one. And say, Eric, you need to do something because it's getting out of hand, and it's a point to say I love you, but I'm getting tired of this, and rightfully so. I don't blame her.
Right.
So that's how I jiu-jitsu and I came to be together.
That's
Because
what I was about to ask. Is that what
yeah,
led you to BJJ?
yeah, I actually hitting rock bottom. Let's put it like in lame terms, hitting rock bottom because
Right,
I said I tried everything. I went on retreats. I went to programs, like, and I will be okay, like I said before, like for a few weeks or a few months, and then nothing happened. I'm back to square one.
right,
And also I wasn't that organized because not doing anything for myself. So one day I remember I was sitting in the hallway. I mean, I was standing in the hallway of my house, and I just Googled, jujitsu academies near me, and the first thing that popped up was Ralph Gracie. So of course I knew the last name because of UFC. So once I sent him an email because now I'm getting self-conscious because like, okay, how can I do this? Because remember my vision, and I had no knowledge of how jiu-jitsu works, so I was really
right.
skeptical. So I said, I'm sorry, I don't know when I curse. I said,
Yeah, go ahead, bro. You're
I
good.
said, well, I'm gonna try it because I need to do something. And my wife at that point was really, out of options. So I sent an email to them, let them know that I have officially an impairment, and they were really cool about it. They come in and we'll do a trial class. When I walked in there, my professor teaches a really pedagogical way, so it's also really structured. So when I
Hmm.
walked in the academy, the first thing that I caught my attention was everybody was in formation before the class. That
Hmm.
people had to bow, go into the mat and bow out. Those things like that really caught my attention because being from the military, I like that kind of organization.
Right,
So when I started doing the trial class, in trial class you don't get to do much. You don't get to do much. It's more like, how to throw a punch or how to shrimp because it's a trial class.
right.
But
You're learning the most minimal stuff in a
yeah,
trial
yeah, it's
class.
kind of to see if it's something you want to do. But the thing is, I'm observing the class much as I can. I say, man, I want to do this. The energy in the academy. My professor, his name was Aegis Calixto. Aegis Calixto de Lima. He's from Rio, and he's a 6th degree black belt. His black, you guys black belt from Carlos Gracie.
Nice.
I decided to join. At the time, I got a grant through We Defy Foundation, which they help veterans pay the first year of the academy. If you're starting the white belt, they'll
Right,
they'll pay it first year. And so for me, it was a good thing because it's not gonna out of my pocket. Now I felt obligated to go because somebody else is paying for it.
right, right. Yep.
So
It was another motivation.
and thank God I did, man, because at the beginning, like any person, you start jujitsu, you don't know what the hell you're doing. So you're just really tense all the time and trying to go spazzy. And the more I did it, the more calm I became.
Right,
And that's what really led me to like do this as like it became a passion
yeah,
because the benefit my wife gets them seeing how calm I will come home. And once I start, I think once I got my first strike, that's what really motivated me.
right,
Because I was like, okay, I'm getting there. It was my first strike.
right.
But it meant, and so that motivated me to come more often because it was hard for me too because I don't drive. So I have to
Me
um
either.
yeah, so all you understand. So to
Yeah,
coordinate all these things, it's a pain in the ass. So
yeah.
one more thing I had to add to my list to coordinate, but it worked. And around my second strike, I wanted to compete.
Yeah, I completely understand because that's something that I have factored into my bills. Like the way because the place I train at, the one I'm under, is an hour away from me. So, like you said, if you're not driving, it's hard to coordinate that. So, if
Yeah,
you have it to where you have somebody to take you, you want to hit every single time you go. Like you're
yeah,
extra motivated to go. And then when you don't go, if you can't go, it changes you a little bit.
it does.
It makes you like disappointed in yourself. So you try to keep that flow going so you don't miss your opportunities to train.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
like you said, the calmer you were when you started. I think it works that way for a lot of people, but I think it works that way for people with disabilities even more because for me, if I miss a couple days training, I'm out of sorts. It don't feel
Yeah,
right. I
yeah.
don't feel right mentally. Continue what you were saying about competing.
But yeah, but going back on that you're saying is like problem solving. You're constantly you're playing chess with a human being.
Yep.
So for the brain, for people like us and like myself had a brain injury, it helps my brain to do that because I'm constantly thinking, okay, what to do next and all that. So I gotta think fast. I remember my professor. I told my professor I wanted to compete, right? But it
Mhm.
entails the fact that I needed somebody to take me, right? And he said, Eric, I was only going like twice a week. But then I was like, okay, now I need to plan this because now I want to become this more often. And so I did, as a good soldier that I was, I enjoy following orders, and I'm big on that. I respect the people's talent and their background. So if he's telling me to train more in order for me to compete, then that's all I'm gonna do. And I did it because kind of to prove myself I can do it. And that's something I always do throughout my life. And sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing.
Relatable,
Yeah,
relatable for sure.
sometimes it's my ego's too big, and I gotta learn that it's okay to be limited sometimes. My first matches, all my matches as a white belt, I was extremely nervous because I was so self-conscious about my vision, and I remember I used to get concerned about takedowns because if I don't have no peripherals, so all these things were going through my head, because of the fact that I was putting my insecurities first, I mean my disabilities first instead of my skills, but I enjoyed it, the fact that how difficult it was.
You said something that has stuck out to me that I want to touch on because that's something that I kind of still struggle with. Even though I've been doing this so long, I still kind of struggle with it. You was putting your disability before your skills. I think that is a huge, huge compliment to your ability because that's something that I can push it to the back of my mind, but it's always there. So
Yeah.
it flip flops a lot. So that talk about that struggle because
Yeah, that's something that I learned to. I always say this. Sometimes I will say I can't before I try, and because I know that I can't see well. So certain things that I don't even try because I know it's going to be difficult for me. Because in the past I would try yes because I want to try and prove myself, and then I had a hard time doing it because I'm learning how to like be okay with it. In fact, if I like for example, and that's saying no, I lost a lot, and as a white belt and of course a blue belt as well. But I was learning how to deal with it. I was okay with losing because the fact that what, yeah, I lost, but I still made it because 90% of the time, man, I'm the only visually impaired person in the bullpen. Really rare to see somebody else at a blue belt also visually impaired. I know a few
right.
black belts. I'm always competing against able people.
Right. That's something I struggled with too, going to tournaments and competing. Like you said, you've competed with able-bodied people and like you're usually the only visually impaired person there. Usually if I'm at a big tournament like a Naga or a Copa or something like that, I'm the only adaptive athlete there. So, and
Yeah,
you want to hold yourself to that standard, but you got to forget like you're not like them. You have to, like you said, be okay with losing because you're
yeah,
still there. There's
yeah,
able-bodied people who aren't there who will never be there, so you have to
yeah.
remember that.
And also, it's the way I think is that I'm gonna give it my all, even though it might not be enough, and that's for me. At the beginning, I was just making an excuse, well, it's like if I not, it's a process, it's okay to lose, Eric, I was learning how to be okay with my vision on the mats. I competed IBJF, and so I've competed in even walking in the middle of the hallway between the mats. It's also a society building.
Yep.
But honestly, I'm grateful for that because it's helped me a lot, build a lot of character and a lot of confidence. That was always in me. It's just that I was afraid of bringing it out.
Yep. It's kind of that thing where it's competition anxiety,
Yeah,
where you're like, oh man, I'm here. Feel like, am I gonna be able to do this? All these people have more
yeah,
they're gonna be better than me because they have more ability. And then you're like, and then it's another thing. It's another mental thing. Is like, is everybody looking at me because of my like? I don't know
Yeah.
if you've experienced that,
No,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I, I
I
get, I get like that.
Yeah, I don't. Some people, they say when I lose, say, it's okay, you're blind. I'm like, No,
No, like
you know,
no.
I lost because he was just his skills today were better than mine, not because I
Yep,
couldn't see.
yep,
You don't need your eyes in jiu-jitsu anyway. You
yep.
don't.
Right,
You
because
don't.
it's all by feel.
And that's something I've been enjoying because now I'm kind of using it to my advantage, and my game has gotten a lot better because I'm just like, just stop worrying about the things you can't do and just
Right.
and roll. That catapulted me to want to start coaching, and that's something that is really I enjoy it. I didn't think I could do it. Again, another thing, I'll be able to do it, and I make it work, and I'm there at least 4 times a week coaching. I coach the kids from 4 to 7 and then 8 to 15.
That's awesome, man.
And so I help the coaches, I don't run the classes, but I enjoy kind of being in the background, helping the kid out on one-on-one. I enjoy that more than running the class. But it has helped a lot too. When you coach these kids, you're repeating the same moves that those doing, but kind of scaled back, and it helps me because when I go to row, I already know these things, but my memory, I'm doing it for 2 hours.
Right, right. That's kind of what got me into coaching too, was because when my gym first opened, I helped coach a lot. Well, when the gym that I cross train with opened, I helped coach a lot. And the gym that I frequent now, like if I have more experience than somebody who's on the mat, like a first timer or a young white belt or something like that, I'll help coach them through when I have to. And that, like you said, it helps you because you already know it. Dude, like it helps you keep your brain sharp. So
Yeah,
you're adding on to your skills as you're coaching. And
yeah,
I've taken that into the kids I work with gymnastics. So like
yeah.
I can I've flipped it to relate to that. So it coaching really does help, especially us with keeping our brains sharp.
Yeah, it's the structure behind it that helps us, because when you have structure, people with head injuries or any disabilities, that's your best friend because you just follow the structure. You don't skip, forget things and whatever. For me, I haven't worked in 5 years. I retired after my accident, and now for me, this is my job. Like I
Right.
treat it as my job. I'm like really jealous of it. I take it really serious. If I miss a day, I come back and I'll try and make it up because the academy has given me a lot like mentally. I went from having being suicidal most of the time and having several suicide attempts from that to loving life every day even more. So and of course what I put in, but that I wouldn't be able to tap that part of me if I didn't start jujitsu.
Right.
Because jujitsu made me slow down, made me kind of completely. And the more I do it, the calmer I get, and something about I think Tim Kennedy said this once. I'm gonna probably butcher it. It says people who experience some a lot of violence in their lives appreciate peace much more. And nowadays, after everything I've been through in my life, I appreciate the quietness, the peacefulness of life. And I wouldn't be able to enjoy that if I wouldn't be doing jujitsu.
Absolutely, man.
So yeah.
Absolutely. Dude, I definitely want to talk to you more. We definitely have to get together soon. Eric, it's been awesome having you on, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Tell the people where they can find you. And as always, I'm going to leave a link to all his stuff in the description below. But Eric, take it away, man. The floor is yours.
Yeah, man. Look me up at Beyond Capable Podcast on Instagram and TikTok. Also, my personal account is Blind Belt Boricua on Instagram. And hit a like and subscribe, and that way we can share some of the similar story that you do on my podcast as well.
Yes, sir. Definitely. I would love to make that happen. We will, for sure. All right, everybody. That's it for the latest episode of Saiyan Soldier Pod. Peace.
Peace.